Well, the University of the West Indies, Mona, has issued a notice to students who want to reside on halls to submit proof of their COVID vaccine or find alternative accommodations off campus if they can't do so. Joining us to have a discussion on this is Guild President Daniel Mullings, who has since come out after that announcement to say this is a stance that she supports. Daniel, good morning to you. Welcome to Smile Jamaica. Good to have you with us, Madam Guild President.
Good morning, Daniel.
So, Daniel, you've come out to say you are good with this. Tell me a little bit about your thinking.
Definitely. So, given the background of the Delta variant now arriving in Jamaica, which is more infectious, more persons are able to catch it, as well as the fact that our halls of residence are essentially communal spaces. You're looking at sharing kitchens, sharing bathrooms, sharing common areas, and it's a very homely and kind of intimate setting. So persons may not always be, wearing masks when you're inside at least. So for me, I'm looking at it and saying, boy, earlier this year, we saw the Irving incident and we had about 7 blocks that were in quarantine. There was a little bit of an outbreak on one of the halls. And that was very scary for me looking on and coming into the presidency. That was definitely one of my fears going in. It would break my heart to see that happen again and to see potentially happen in an even more serious way where persons may need to be hospitalized. So if it is that vaccinations will help make our spaces more safe and allow our students to have a safe environment that they can freely, of course, still wear your mask and social distance, but have a little bit more comfort. In fact, that's what one student said to me. She said, can you imagine the comfort of knowing that everybody around me on hall is vaccinated? But of course, we would maintain that if the students in hall have to be vaccinated, then of course, any staff or member of administration working there should also need to be vaccinated, to which university had said yes.
All right. Well, you've given us one feedback from a student. Have you been getting any negative feedback from students to say we think it's unfair and we're not prepared to do it?
Right. So the vast majority have actually been positive responses, or even if you don't necessarily like it, you're like, I understand where they're coming from with it. That being said, only one student had come to me and said, it may be a little bit difficult because of the short notice that was given, and I can definitely agree there that they could have been given more time. But I also know that the reason the administration is doing it now is because the Delta variant was recently announced, as well as they're following cues from the government. So the government, announcing these lockdown days that we've been in here, a lot of it is dependent on the national situation. So I understand, and for the majority of students, they're fine. But of course, there will be some who will disagree with it, naturally with any rule.
Yeah, I just want to come in again before Simone, because you said it, the notice is short. For AstraZeneca, they have to take 2 shots before full vaccination kicks in. So what happens in the interim? Because if they take a shot now, some protection, but not enough. So what will maintain on the halls?
Because school start, right? School start the 5th?
Yeah.
School starts next week, Monday, and definitely, as you've said, Dale, that is a question I've engaged the administration on. So I would have gotten the confirmation yesterday that students can come on as long as they've gotten 1 shot. And again, that's because of the short notice. You can only get 1 shot between this time. But the Mona Aging and Wellness Center is open every day, so students have more than enough opportunity if they'd like to.
Okay. Okay.
So the feedback you're getting is that they're largely on board, Daniel. You're not getting a lot of pushback.
Not getting a lot of pushback. In fact, I get more pushback from persons who are non-UE students who are not here. For the students that are here, vast majority is saying that they're fine with it. In fact, 2 reporters came on the weekend and they're telling me, Daniel, we're having trouble finding students that will come on this and say they don't support it.
That's also gives me hope.
Encouraging.
Right? Encouraging for me. What about off campus now? How is that going to go?
So for those who, you don't want to get the vaccine, and also I must put out there that there is a caveat that if you have a medical or religious reason, then you will be considered on a case-by-case basis. And that is, in line with the best policies I've seen internationally, or even when I read the WHO's COVID-19 vaccination mandate policy brief, again, in line with what is happening at the international level. It's not unique to the University of the West Indies. But for those who, you don't want to get vaccinated and it's still your choice, that's fine. University has said that the OSSD, the Office of Student Services, essentially, is saying that they will assist students with finding accommodation nearby. So to be honest with you, it's not always going to be ideal, but I think it's a fair position to have given the state of our country's healthcare system on, and the state of just us trying to get out of this pandemic really in a normal way.
Yeah, because as Simone says, it follows through to in the classroom situation, you guys are living on hall, but I don't know if you've had any information yet about classes, face-to-face, online. What will pertain come next week?
Right. So the vast majority of our classes are still online. The university has said that they're doing a 70-30 model. So 70% of our classes will be online and 30% would be face-to-face. And that 30% you're looking at is like labs in the Faculty of Science and Technology, engineering, or clinicals for medical students. So still, persons are not required to get vaccinated in order to go to face-to-face classes. I want to put that out there clearly. That's a completely different, scenario and position. You're just required to get the vaccine in order to live on hall.
So, okay, well, based on the scenario you presented before that, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the reason that would be different is when you're looking at a mandate for living on halls, there are alternatives for those who decide not to. You're looking at a mandate for classes. There is no alternative for somebody who has a face-to-face lab for chemistry. You get me? So when we're looking at maintaining students' rights, one, and student access to education, it's going to be two different scenarios. And my key thinking is always, is there an alternative for those who don't wish to?
And it's important that the student who lives on hall has the right to maintain their health. And that's critical to what's happening. So I mean, so far it's good news. So the students, those who previously lived on hall, they're going to be. So what if I say I can't be vaccinated for medical purposes or religious purposes?
Right. So for those persons, you will be accommodated. You will be your case will be analyzed on a case-by-case basis. So the SSDM or hall manager essentially would look at the cases and then review there. Of course, I am not aware of exactly how it will be done in terms of what criteria or so on, but I know that there was some sort of suitable information or backative to say that this is the reason why you can't get the vaccine right now.
Yeah, I know they're trying to find accommodation off campus. But often off-campus is a little bit more expensive than on-campus, Danielle. Are students thinking, wow, if I have to go live off-campus, it's going to be more on me? Is the Student Services Office trying to find accommodation that can fit the students and the parents' budget?
Well, definitely. I know they are trying as best as they can. And it may not always be ideal, as I've said before, but I think at the end of the day, student safety has to be paramount. We know that the university nor the guild can handle another outbreak on halls that may be even potentially worse given the Delta variant. And given that we're low on oxygen levels across your hospitals, I think it's a dire situation. It's a difficult position to be in, but I think it's the best we can do given the circumstances.
I'm curious as to what part the fact that the student is not vaccinated will play in the assistance with getting that accommodation, because oftentimes the UWI students, especially in and around Mona, are living with folks.
Yeah.
Right? They're boarding in dwellings that already have folks in there. It's not everybody going to have a place for themselves. So there are implications there as well for renters, for folks who may have an issue with unvaccinated persons being in their homes. Do you foresee that being a challenge, Danielle?
Well, I haven't heard of it being a challenge thus far, but definitely we'll always want to be in a position to assess every possible outcome that can come from it. So that is something that we can look into, but thus far I haven't heard it as a challenge.
All right. Well, I'm heartened. I'm heartened that our young people are leading the way in thought and in action. And we have to get back to business and have to get back to learning. And I'm excited that UWI is almost there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you, lady, for catching up with us this morning. All the best for the new school year. Madam Guild President Danielle Mullings with us this morning.